In this video, I will share with you an indicator that any beginner can replicate. I'll show you its settings and how to work with it. And most importantly, I'll explain how to set everything up safely so you can earn your first profit. This indicator doesn't print money for us, but it helps us close trades in profit in 70% of cases. So make yourself comfortable and let's get started. The indicator is very simple and is called the Keltner channels. Next we'll talk about its settings, and as for where to add it, I think you'll figure it out. To do this, you need to go to the Indicators tab and add Keltner channels here. We add it and then we'll set it up. First, let's talk about how to use it correctly and what it's actually for. It shows us the trend movement. It indicates how the trend is currently behaving and in which direction it's better to open our trades. We have only 3 entry points. We have the upper boundary from which we enter for a decrease. We have the middle boundary from which we can enter either for an increase or a decrease. And we have the lower boundary. So there are only 3 entry points that provide us with profit. You need to remember this. And we also have 2 scenarios when we trade. These are either a downward movement or an upward movement. We'll go through all of this together next. For now, let's observe this trade. And as you can see, it's bringing us a pretty good result, all because I followed all the rules and entered the trade correctly. Let's move on. But before we get to the settings, I want to remind you that we have a Telegram channel for our team, where you can receive exclusive and really valuable news updates every single day. Here, people are making money and actively sharing their amazing results. So, if you want to earn together with us and also get ready-made strategies, then absolutely join our Telegram channel. By the way, we have a support team that will be happy to help you and answer all your questions. I'll leave all the links in the description. Join us and earn together with us. Now, let's move on to the settings. To set up this indicator correctly, we need to change the first period to 15. We leave the second period as default. We change the third value to 2. In the style settings, we set the first value to a red line with a width of 2 points, the middle one to a white line with a width of 1 point, and the third line to green with a width of 2 pixels. And we also make the background less transparent so that it's more convenient and easy for us to work. We save all these settings and now we have this beautiful indicator in front of us, which immediately signals where we should open sell trades and where we should open buy trades. It's no coincidence that we marked the red and green lines. Now let's look at an example of an OSTO entry point. We'll analyze the upper and lower boundaries right now. Right now I'm opening my buy trade. This is all because the price has reached the extreme line, specifically the lower line. And from the lower line, we always enter a buy position, but only on the condition that there is a strong upward or strong downward movement. If the price is moving sideways, we do not use this indicator. We simply forget about this kind of movement. Only upward or only downward movement in one direction at a time. So how does this system work? This indicator shows us our channel movement. For example, right now the price is moving downward. And according to market rules, the price always bounces from the lower boundary to the upper one. Yes, sometimes it goes above or maybe below or doesn't quite touch our boundary. That happens too. The price can behave like that sometimes, but these are all exceptional cases. For the most part, this rule works very well for us and we should use it. And accordingly, this trade brings me profit. That is, I entered from the lower boundary and made money. If we look at the history, there were several opportunities here where we could have made a profit. Here, and here. And as you can see, there are quite a lot of them. So here we could have made money as many as 7 times just by entering for an increase. From the upper boundary we also had a few touches, but there were far fewer of them here. You could say there were only 2 touches from above where we would have entered for a decrease, and as many as 7 from below. As you can see, entry points occur quite often and all of them are pretty good, all of them are profitable. For example, here is the currency pair Australian dollar US dollar. Here, the situation is the opposite. We have a strong upward movement, but the price has reached the very top boundary. Accordingly, you need to open your trade for 1 minute to go down. And as you can see, I caught this perfectly and immediately opened my sell trade. There's no need to use any complicated analysis or a trading robot here. All you need here is practice. I've shared the settings with you. The timing is also clear. Set 15-second candles, 1 minute per trade, and everything works perfectly. Just practice this strategy regularly and then you'll gradually be able to gather some useful statistics over time. For example, our beginner traders who are currently learning this strategy together with us typically achieve statistics of 70 to 90% profitable trades. If you add some additional thoughtful analysis, then you can really reach 80 or even as high as 90% profitable trades with consistent effort and careful attention. A great trade brings me profit, and now let's talk about the middle line, since we can also work from it. But as you can see, it's a neutral color color for us, and things aren't so simple here. If we have an upward movement and the price comes to the middle line at some point, let's even mark it like this. So, for example, the price moves like this and comes to the middle line, then from the middle line we enter in the direction of the trend. In other words, it plays, you could say, the same role as the lower boundary. But if we have a downward movement, let's draw it. Here we have a downward movement, and the price is near the lower boundary. And suddenly it bounces back to the middle line, then we enter again in the direction of the trend. That is, from the middle boundary, we only trade with the trend. If we have a downward movement, for example, and the price is at the top, then we do not trade from this boundary. Only if the price is in the lower channel. If we have an upward movement, something like this, then we only trade if the price is in the upper channel. In that case, we trade from the middle line. If, in the same way, there is an upward movement and the price is at the lower boundary, we do not trade from the middle. This is important to remember. And now let me show you a practical example. Here we have the Euro-Swiss franc pair. What's happening here? The price is in the lower range. We can clearly see that. Accordingly, the price moves from the lower range, from here to the middle boundary, and that's why I open my trade for 1 minute. You need to be careful with this line. Even if we look at the history here, sometimes this situation doesn't work, or it gives us a strong impulse that ends up closing our position at a loss. So you need to be cautious here. Although right here there was an upward movement and we could have made a good profit several times. So you need to be careful with the middle line. And the more confident, for example, the downward or upward movement is, the stronger the middle line will be. All of this is learned through practice, only through your own mistakes. And only then can you talk about any kind of result. When you can distinguish, for example, a sideways movement from a good upward or downward trend, this can only be cured by practice. As you can see, there's a decent profit from the middle line. So in fact, everything here is quite simple. The very first factor is the downward movement. The second factor is that the price is in the lower channel. And the third factor is that the price has come up to the middle line from below. And accordingly, I open my trade for a decline. As you can see, 3 factors lined up and I made a profit. Now let me show you some examples that you shouldn't work with. If you see that the price is behaving like this, complete chaos on the chart, it's better to skip such situations. You should skip these as well. When we have absolutely no way of determining whether we're going up or down, we simply skip that particular movement. But right here, in this case, we actually had a really good stretch and we definitely could have worked with it. But try to choose currency pairs that have a clear, for example, upward or clearly downward movement. That's when you make money on them. Another very important point, if you see such a sharp impulse, skip it. Always remember, if the price makes several candles like that, it will always break through either our lower or upper boundary. In other words, we need moderate movement. Only then do we work with this indicator. As you can see, impulses always break through our channel. So always be careful in these situations. Pay attention to impulses and also to the moments when the price is standing still, just like here. Often during sideways movements, the price gets stuck in the middle. And of course we can work from the extreme values, but that will be very unsafe. Be sure to share your thoughts about this strategy in the comments. Like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I also want to remind you that all useful links will be waiting for you in the description, including our Telegram channel where you'll find even more strategies and even more valuable content. And also a link to our support account. I'll also leave a link to the bot in the description. With that, I'll say goodbye for now. Today I ended up with such an interesting and simple strategy, and it even helped me earn a decent profit. That's all I have for today. See you soon.